What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. And where do all fights start? Round one. Well, we have an amazing show for you here today. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the things that's going on in these streets. Listen, there's a war going on outside. No man is safe from these streets that we done took. You scared? Yo, listen. My man Blue Bloods is going in right now, and he's having it out with Fanon on all over social media. Him and KO 86 boxing. Shout out to all of them. And it goes to show where, you know what I mean, in this competition of reporting and wanting to be the voice of boxing is in high competition. Listen, you know what I mean? Yo, I was watching some of the debate, and just before we get into the Naoya and Junto debate as well, it's kind of amusing to see it all play out. How these guys are, disputing, fighters, and it's entertainment for the most part. I think that both sides got interesting points. They said a lot, and it goes to show how far they both come in this reporting and bringing content to the viewers about boxing. Even though they were going back and forth at each other, they did disclose a lot of their backgrounds, and it speaks to, how long both men have been around the sport. He's like, I met you in Texas when I was this age, that, and he's actually backing, how long Blue Blood has been in the game. And Blue Blood is actually doing the same for him. KO boxing came on. I've debated KO boxing before. He ain't never gonna want to give nobody his flowers and shit, right? But you know what I'm saying? I laid him out on his show. You know what I'm saying? Because he likes to express that. He cooked me. And you can go back to the video. We got receipts. Even his own fan gave me the victory and said I lost on some bullshit with some shit that he brought up. But the victory was clear. All right. But I'm not here to toot my own horn. I'm just here to say that I respect all these guys, and their views, and you can see their passion on full display, and they're all protecting their brand. They're all protecting what they believe is that they want to be the voice of boxing. And sometimes you can see where, the content creator, he may toot his horn a little too much, and be a little belligerent towards fans, and really like shit on certain people in the game to get ahead. It's an ugly business. It's an ugly covering sport. I get it. I get it. I get it. But here at Round One Sports Talk, we like to keep it boxing, but I'll always debate. I'll do the same thing. I'll protect the brand at all costs, you know. Um, and that's how I feel. But I'm watching them go back and forth. It's a little comical entertainment at the same time. But my man Blue, he held his own. KO held his own, and Fernand held his own. I see Fernand always taking shots at my man Claymore. He's really digging into him every chance he gets. And it just speaks to the level of sometimes how petty men can be, with a microphone and a stage, and they know that the audience is listening, how far they're willing to go. So anyway, uh, uh, let's talk about boxing itself. Now, there has been a lot of things being said about Naoya Inoue and Junto. Their names have been recently being brought up in a lot of different ways. Now, at one point in time, I thought that Naoya Inoue was fighting a lot of lefties to prepare himself for who? The one and only Tank Davis. And that's where I saw the vision going. Perhaps it could have been this whole entire time for a different kind of lefty, such as Junto Nakatoni. He's a lefty. And since, Naoya Inoue, what we wanted to see was Junto fight Naoya Inoue's kid brother, right? Takuma. And if he would have fought him and beat him for his belt, I think it would have built for a better storyline. Although Takuma fell, he lost his belt. I still think that fight would be a good fight. I still think it would be a good fight. One of my loyal subscribers, Yogi Bear, hinted to a few possibilities on fights that he believed could be in the future. And he mentioned a lot of different combinations of fights where Saul Canelo Alvarez could fight on a fight card with Naoya Inoue and Junto on the same fight card. Perhaps fight Picasso or Davis, for Naoya Inoue. And then Junto could probably fight Luis Pantera Nari on that card. And Saul could probably fight Mbili. So he set that fight card up like that. And I was like, that's a pretty interesting, would be an interesting card. But everybody, and I mean everybody now, has been talking about Junto since Junto has expressed that he wants to move up to 122 pounds and chase after Naoya Inoue. The minute he said that was official. All eyes turned around. The entire room stopped looking at Tank Davis and they went like this. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a fight. And everybody started going this way. And I see why. Junto is electrifying. And let's break down his style. Junto is style, right? I was watching him earlier today and I was like looking at some of the things that he does and what makes him special as a fighter. Junto, coming straight out of the gate, right? He has a unique jab. The way he works his jab in multiple fights, it's kind of like it's a utility jab. He has like a Batman jab, right? And not a lot of fighters understand this and don't use it in the same way. I need you to understand this. Some boxers will throw the jab, right, to try to set things up. Others will throw the jab because they're trained to throw it. They don't really understand what to do with it or how powerful a jab can be. They're just throwing it because they're told to. There's a difference. Junto uses his jab for multiple things. He uses it as a rangefinder, right? He uses it to create distance. He also uses it to try to blind the opponent and to stick it out there and try to nullify his opponent's jab. He's real long and rangy, and he knows how to sit down and bend his knees to make himself just that much shorter because he's usually the taller guy coming up against his opponent, right? When he utilizes his jab very well, he works off of it. He sets up shots. He sets up counters. And usually, typically, he has this wide check hook. It's wide. It comes around the guard. And he uses that shot right there I've seen for more than one. He sets that up. He uses that hook shot right there to get the fighter to do several things. What he's actually doing is trying to create situations. He's trying to see what you chose to do when he snapped the side and came around your guard and snapped you on the side of the head. Typically, right, when he does that, sometime it gets the guy to throw his right. He has this real sneaky uppercut, Junto, that is not your typical uppercut that it comes from here like this. He throws his uppercut with his thumb up like this. It kind of comes in between your guard. It doesn't come under like that. It kind of comes at an angle, at a vertical angle like this. That's how he shoots it, like that. When he hits the guy with that hook, he wants him to try to throw that punch so he can hit him in that window right there. He's going to hurt him. And the shot that the guy's throwing, he's going to take all the sting out of that shot. So he's willing to exchange because he knows that by time that your punch reaches him, all the momentum is going to be taken out because he hit you hard on the inside. Junto is really, really crafty when it comes to that. That sneaky uppercut he has is things of legend. That's what those kind of shots. See, he understood that there's no real wrong way to throw a punch as long as the punch is effective and you throw it with good, good form. You want to make sure that you're hitting with these two knuckles, no matter how the punch is coming. Typically in the older days, we kind of settled into the fact that the boxing went like this, and you had to throw an uppercut like this, and a check hook was like this, right? People learned that you can shorten it up, you can widen it up, right? The uppercut doesn't have to be always like this. It can be like this, and your jab can be utilized for multiple things, and that's how boxers started to evolve. What makes Junto really good, right, is that you can see he adapted the Japanese style, but he came out to America to adapt the Western style with his boxing. They acknowledge that the American slick style is probably, when performed at the right way, it's a very, very dominant style. With your style and what Junto understands about himself. Now, although I watched his competition and I said to myself, yo, listen, Junto's competition is not reacting or responding like Naoya Inoue would. You see, Naoya Inoue is not going to allow Junto just to do whatever he wants. Naoya Inoue is the type of fighter that he knows how to control the center of the ring. Naoya Inoue, Junto's going to have to try to back him up and to discourage Naoya Inoue because Naoya Inoue, when he had fought longer fighters, he typically waves his hand around like this with his jab, trying to lure and bait the other guy to throw his jab. That first step that Naoya Inoue has when he darts in like that, I've heard a lot of boxers talk about it. They say it's frightening. They say that they can't believe how fast he closes distance and he's up on them. That's going to have to be something that Junto is going to have to figure out, because I can guarantee you none of the guys that Junto ever fought move or fight and do the things that Naoya Inoue does in that ring. This is a real step up in quality of opponents. And typically against a left-hander, the right straight is the most effective punch. Naoya Inoue, do you guys remember when he knocked out Payano in the World Series of Boxer? He was a lefty Dominican fighter, former world champion. Yo, that guy shifted one way wrong, just one way wrong. Naoya Inoue knocked him out with one punch, knockout power. He can end your night with one punch, if he catches you flush. But in this stage of the game, these athletes are more, these are the best of the best. They know how to roll with a punch. Although you might look like, oh, he caught him real good, unless he like catching him like real good, right? You can tell the difference. But these guys know how to roll with punches. They know how to evade punches, and they're not going to do things that you're going to be able to catch a more inexperienced fighter with. So they're going to have to earn their punches in there at this level in the game. Junto, Naoya Inoue ain't supposed to just knock him out like that and walk off not against a skilled fighter like that. It's not supposed to look like that. This is supposed to be one of those fights that we truly believe it's a 50-50 fight. And we don't know who would win. So it's definitely not in the mindset where he's just going to go out there and knock him out and walk off. That's not supposed to happen when you got the best of the best fighting. Now, you notice that in this matchup that people are talking about, that they're not saying that Junto is small, moving up. Typically, when you got the guy coming up in weight, they're calling him the smaller fighter. They're saying, oh, this guy's moving up in weight. We don't know if his power is going to transcend over to the next weight division. That's everything that they're saying. They're saying that, he's going into a new weight division. He should acclimate to the division. The typical boxing stuff. In this case, no one's saying that. Absolutely no one is saying that. Junto's a smaller guy, that he needs to acclimate to the division. They took one looked at him, and looked in there. Fair fight. Fair fight. Really? Really, guys? You guys are just going to bypass the weight jump and just give Junto Nakatoni the credibility of being a 122-pounder. Just because he's tall and big for the division anyway at 118. You're just going to stamp it. You're good. Nah. That's a weight jump. No matter how much taller he is or big for the 118, that is an official weight jump, and we have to take that into consideration. That's why Naoya Junto, when Yogi Berra told Bear said he should fight Luis Pantera Nari, or maybe Davis, or maybe Picasso, or maybe one of those guys that are in there, that are on the top. Junto could fight them coming into the division. And that sounds great, because that would be that fight that he needed to acclimate, to feel how hard these guys hit too. It would be a good experience to have Junto go in the ring against Luis Pantera Nari. Why? Luis Pantera Nari dropped Naoya in a way. If Junto could come into that fight and dominate and knock out Luis Pantera Nari, like, at the end of the day, the monster got dropped, but the monster took care of business, and he dropped him 3 times in the fight. So Junto would have to knock him out, and not get dropped in the fight. Take Luis's power, his punches, have an impressive performance, and if he can come in and dominate Luis in a better way, and take him out quicker, now we're okay. Because now they got an opponent in common. There's a measuring stick. You seen how he fared against him? Let's see how he fares against him. The only difference in the equation, yes, would be the elephant in the room, that Naoya Inoue is right-handed and Junto's left-handed, and Luis Pantera Nari is left-handed. So they would be coming into the fight lefty against lefty. Now, is that a problem? Is that a problem? Okay. If you think about it, a lefty fighter typically would fight a right-handed fighter. Him being lefty, the usual competition against him would be a righty fighter, right? I bet you lefties fight way more righty fighters than they do lefties, right? Okay. So Naoya Inoue, coming into that fight, he had fought many lefty fighters, but still, it's a bit awkward, because the guy's not on the side you typically fight, and lefties can give anybody problems. Okay. So Junto, being a lefty himself, typically he would fight right-handed fighters, right? So a left-handed fighter would probably be the same puzzle, I guess, if you kind of like think about it, you know? So, um, yeah, yeah. Would it be worse for Luis Pantera Nari to be right-handed? No, I don't think so. I think it would be the same puzzle for it depends. It depends. So, another fight that Junto and they another fight card that they can be a part of, right? If we can get this, you know, this situation and these things worked out with the promoters and stuff, Bob Arum is rumored to push that fight in Las Vegas. That would be a great time to advertise both men, in my opinion. It would be really good if you can get Naoya Inoue and Junto on the same fight card. Now the rumors circulating with Saul Canelo Alvarez, whether or not if that has anything on it, these two men can carry the night. I believe so in America. Maybe you might want a big headliner, in a good world. Shit, if you can get Tank, or you can even get Terrence Crawford. Shit. Um, I don't think any of the other stars can carry the torch for Naoya. I wouldn't switch places. I wouldn't switch with Shakur. I wouldn't switch with Jaron Boots Ennis. They would be on my undercard. Even if I came to America, being the fact of who he is. Naoya Inoue right now is scheduled to fight Sam Goodman in Japan once again, in the same arena he typically fights in. He's gonna pack the house. I believe he's gonna get, a great payday after that, and the world is also at the edge of their feet once again, waiting anticipation to see if he announces that he is in fact going to leave the 122-pound weight division. Naoya Inoue in recent interviews doesn't sound like he wants to leave the 122, but I don't blame him. It is the responsibility of the boxer to know their limits and not to push the limits just to please everyone and destroy your legacy and what it's taking you a lifetime to achieve. I don't think it's right that the fans put that kind of pressure on a man's career. He's the one getting in there taking the punches, and him and his managers should be working out his career and his future. The one thing that Naoya Inoue is doing, that even like boxing promoters like Oscar De La Hoya acknowledged, that he is fighting the top guys in his weight division. And in an era where we're not happy right now, we are truly not happy with Tank Davises of the world, the Ryan Garcias, the Devin Haney's, the glamour division. Those are the divisions that are most watched in all of boxing. That's the bulk right there. And we can't even get these guys to fight each other. Not like in the era where Marvelous Hagler and all these guys, they went at it. They went at it. Look at what's Teofimo Lopez now is happening. And the rumors that with Keyshawn Davis coming up. Now, I've already told you that. These guys are stamping it now like it's official because of the WBO conference that was just there. And, I was in touch with, fighters like Rachel on her platform. I was watching what they text out, and I read the articles and stuff. And the WBO just closed up and wrapped up their conference and stuff. And they talked about a lot of things that the WBO are going to be doing. And, so it's important to keep track of these kind of things. So, the rumors are, right, that it's official that if Keyshawn Davis beats Limos, right, he's going to get a crack at the WBO 135-pound champion and Burachek. And I've already told you that. I told you that like a month ago, that I knew that was going to happen, that the Top Rank was going to feed him that. It was an in-house fight. You know how these promoters work. And if Bob Arum can keep the belt, you see, if either fighter loses, both fighters are his. He still keeps the belt. That's a no-brainer as far as business goes. And you're promoting the young Keyshawn Davis. Now, the fight is in Keyshawn Davis's hand. This is Keyshawn Davis's career. Keyshawn Davis got to win this fight right here. I'm not going to say he has to win it in the most impressive way, but you got to look good. You got to look good to sell that fight too for Top Rank. Bob Arum needs something to work on, kid. You're special. Here's your time. Bob Arum's giving you your stage. Here's your moment. And if you could capitalize on these moments in your career, this is where it's crucial. Boxing isn't a grueling sport. And as you can see, for the better part of your career, you must stay undefeated. Some people say, that's not necessarily true. And yeah, I agree. But it's better that if you stay undefeated and keep winning the fights, your career will skyrocket at a better pace, won't it? Rather than winning, winning, losing, winning, winning, losing, winning, winning, winning. One loss, boxers talked about it. Sometimes in the normal sense, it's usually 2 years before you get back to where you were. Typically off of a loss. So, some of these guys don't want to fight each other like that, right? But these Japanese fighters, they're showing that they're on they have different visions. They really bought into the fact of pure competition, wanting to see who the best is. I heard Paulie Malignaggi. I gotta send him a shout out because I gotta be honest, this is where I heard it from when he was saying that, Western fighters, they always got these excuses, when guys challenge to fight them and they look at them and say, how many pay-per-view buys are you selling? How many tickets are you selling? Blah, blah, blah. Like your status is like held to ticket sales and shit because your ticket sales are going to be in the ring with you fighting. No, I'm trying to make my way. I need to fight guys like you, but you're avoiding me by talking about ticket sales and how many pay-per-view buys you got. We always got excuses that you're not fighting pay-per-view buys. I'm trying to be a star. I want to fight you. Yeah, I've proven myself. Now I've earned the right to fight you. Just be a man about it. And the guy's like, nah, I'm not fighting him because he don't sell. He don't do this. Well, why don't we build the fights? And let's see who's standing. Eventually they're going to sell. But, and our guys are not like that. Out there in Japan, it seems like they're mostly about competition. You say you're better than me, let's fight. You don't hear the Japanese guys saying, yo, how many ticket sales you got? How many venues you sold out? How many clicks and views do you get? Like, what the fuck does that got to do with fighting? There's some of these guys that don't got that popularity. That doesn't mean they can't whoop your ass. You're scared of him, I bet. Those are those unknown fighters that come out of left field that just touch your champion right up. Yeah, and you're like shocked. Oh shit, where'd this guy come from? Yeah, it's what happens. And it's like these guys don't typically fight each other. They don't. The Western guys, they always like more bougie than anything. It's like they want to be popular before a world champion nowadays. That's kind of sad. Where that these other guys are some boxers. I want to make this very clear too, right? Not all boxing situations apply to all boxers. And what I mean by that is some people call boxing prize fighting. Isn't it prize fighting? We're fighting for a prize, for a bag, right? Well, that would be correct in some people's circles because some people don't come into boxing for the money. They don't care how much money. They just want to crack at the title. Money is not their ambition. They're not prize fighters. They want to be world champions. So that prize fighting shit doesn't apply to that fighter. And that's what I mean, that some boxing situations don't apply to all fighters. in all situations don't represent boxing. No, it doesn't. It depends on what the career of the fighter, what trajectory they're trying to go in. Do they would just want to be one champion? Do they want to be a multiple division world champion? Are they okay being a champion in their own weight division, but chasing after all four belts and not moving up throughout divisions, but being the king in their own division? There's a difference, my man. Not everybody's goals line up with what you think boxing should be. I don't have the same vision you have. And that's why all these scenarios that people try to attach to boxing as a whole. Boxing's a prize fighting sport. Ain't we trying to get the bag? And they think they're saying something. They speak for all of boxing. That's a lie. Speak to the prize fighters, the men that want the bag. Like Gervonta Davis and them, they were blatant about it. The Ryan Garcias of the world. We get in the bag. Prize fighters. They didn't say anything in the beginning about titles. In fact, they downed them. Different vision. There are fighters that come into this fighting boxing. Abdullah Mason, and although he's trying to provide for his family and be financially stable, of course, what comes out of his mouth? I want to be a world champion. Different vision. He ain't talking about the Devin Haney wasn't a prize fighter in the beginning. He took pay cut after pay cut to secure his legacy so far. He wanted legacy. He wanted to be a champion. He said, fuck the money. I got money. I'll get money once I get those belts. Different vision. Wasn't a prize fighter. He wanted to be a little of both, of course. Right? But he had a different mindset. So not everybody, big baby Gerald Anderson. He doesn't want to be a world champion. He said it. I want the bag. That's what it's about for some people. But just to clear it all up, and sometimes you're going to hear these, these quotes or these titles. They do not represent boxing. They apply in some situations, and in some certain boxing situations, they do not apply. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? The chat. What's up? Yo, that's what it's become. Bam. How you doing, frontline? How you guys doing in the building? I've been chopping it up, and I looked over and noticed. I was like, what's missing? I was like, the damn chats. You know what I mean? How you guys doing? Armando, salute, baby. Always in the building. No money, no sport. Western fighters know it's all business and they gotta eat. Well, Western fighters know that it's a blood sport. And I've said this and I've covered this on my channel that, uh if you ask me, the money isn't worth it because of the severity of what some of these men and women go through in retirement after, some of these guys retire broke. Some people don't know how to manage money. And sometimes fame and fortune can come so fast that you didn't know how to juggle it all. Okay. And not all athletes are business oriented. So we know that Western fighters know that we have to get the bag, yes, right? And that having the mindset of getting paid because you're going out there and you're the one that's risking it all. You're taking all this damage. But at the same time, when you come into a sport, there's nothing, and I mean nothing in your sport than the highest award. At the end of the day, there have been many, many men and women throughout many different levels and many different sports levels in sports, right? And they've got in the bag. I've seen $100 million contracts to basketball players that in their career never winning a championship. Yeah, they might have secured the bag, but at the end of the day, when you go to those reunions and stuff, and the men are sitting at the table and they're wearing all the hardware, all their jewelry, you can't sit at the table with them and laugh. Ha 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 ha. Remember when we won that Super Bowl, guys? Not one, two, but three. Ha 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 ha. It was a great moment. And you sit down with this $100 million contract. Yeah, my man, you got paid, right? I hope you can manage that shit. But when your money runs out or you're dead and gone, what are they gonna say you did in your sport? That's what the Hall of Fame is for. Your name lives on forever. Immortality. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, your name is up there. It doesn't say you got the bag. It doesn't say this Western fighter knew he had to get paid. It doesn't say that. It doesn't have a picture with Javante Davis with all this money like this. Like, it's not going to say that. What they talk about are the men and women that were legends, that were the best, that got the most hardware. Where are your belts, young man? In any Hall of Fame, NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, tennis, golf, what the champions talk about are championship shit in championship moments while going like this or wearing their belts. You can have that mindset. Yeah, I want the bag, the money. Yeah. Well, why don't you take some of that money and buy a ticket to the Hall of Fame and get in the back of the fucking line? Just because you were a player doesn't mean you get to skip in line neither. I seen you peek. No, in line, full price. You didn't make it in the building, bro. Remember, you wanted the bag, the money, not legacy. Yeah, it's cool to get the bag. The bag's gonna come with the belt, brother. You get the belt, you got the bag and the legacy. Now you could talk. Now you could really be like, what you did, what you got. The belt are gonna bring the bag. That Devin Haney fighters like that, Floyd, he knew that. Floyd said, listen, Oscar, you can have the bag. I want a shot at those belts and at your name. What Oscar built, Floyd took it that on that night. Rode off into the sunset and the rest is history. He got the bag from securing the biggest victories. The bag came later. And then he got both. He got the legacy, the belts, and the bag. My man. Yo, he ain't nobody do it like him. You know? So that's the thing though. You know, I respect it. I respect it. I respect that we understand that we gotta eat in this world. We got a family to provide for it. I get it. But Western fighters, they gotta understand that securing legacy and going after greatness will bring money. You don't have to be greedy and fuck up your career, take all these fights, and because you see, Javante Davis, right, is an interesting case because everybody's not really addressing what made Javante Davis successful. I don't think Javante Davis, his opponents, or the way he was knocking, it's not the first time we ever witnessed someone get knocked out in boxing. What he was doing wasn't like unique. No. What part of Javante Davis's success was Floyd Mayweather being at his fights. Hell yeah. People would buy literally tickets in the beginning knowing very little about Javante. They're like, all right, we're going to go see his fighter. But Floyd is in the building. You mean to tell me I could get a glance or a look or perhaps a handshake or a picture with Floyd. He's going to be in attendance. So part of his success was Floyd giving him his stamp of approval to the boxing world and all the celebrities and all the things that Floyd brings. Floyd calls his, yo, I want you to come to this fight. They gonna come. That's Floyd Mayweather, bro. You know how many celebrities he called and personally told them, yo, I want you to come out to the Gervonta Tank Davis fight. It's like his 12th fucking fight. They're like, who the hell is Gervonta Davis? Oh, the world's about to find out about him. Gervonta had to do his part, and he did. Then part of Gervonta's success, another part, was that interim world title that they claim belts don't matter. Bullshit. Then why did Gervonta Davis drag around that interim belt? Why he never vacated it if he didn't need that? It's what you see. When they announced Tank Davis into the ring, what did you see? Bro, he had a WBA world title wrapped around his waist, didn't he? Didn't he? And how's that possible if Devin Haney had it? But they're going to tell you, don't look at the belt. Just hear what I'm saying. Belts don't matter. Just get the money. Bullshit. Gervonta Davis would have never, and I repeat, would have never been as successful on his own just with those knockouts. You know where he would be? He would be still trying to contend for a world title, right? And people would be saying he needs to fight better opposition. That's where Gervonta would be right now. Without Floyd, without that interim belt wrapped around his belt, because according to him, he didn't need it. Strip him of all those things. Tank would not turn out being the man he is. No, he wouldn't. Knockouts alone don't do that for you. He would have had to fight the top fighters in order to gain that respect. He was given that respect. No, he is nice. Yes, he's fucking nice as hell. Tank's a beast, bro. Yes, they got a real one. Yeah. Tank, Floyd found himself a great fighter. Yeah, I gotta admit that. Tank's doing the rest. Yes, I gotta admit that. But the way they marketed him and everything, it was kind of like Floyd was saying to him, I'm gonna make you a superstar, but he put in his head, belts don't matters. That way, he probably thought, Gervonta probably could beat my records. Gervonta, I help this kid out. He breaks all my records and all my accolades and makes more money than me. Where does that leave me? Then the kid spits it back in Floyd's face, right? Floyd's like, he started recognizing, wait a minute, I'm going to get you the money, but I'm going to make you think that belts don't matter. That way you don't chase after my legacy because you're just good enough to do it. And I think he purposely sabotaged some of Tank's career. Because Tank's good enough to do all this shit we talk about. I really believe it. Why hasn't he done it? They didn't give him the fights. Why? I think Floyd realized early when Tank was like he was unsteady in their relationship early. Floyd put him up here, bought him a Jeep. Tank sold the Jeep. Said, fuck you to Floyd, went back. However, Ford had to talk him back into it, came. And that was early. Tank from Floyd Mayweather probably saw that Tank would be a problem. And he wasn't willing to help a guy like that wasn't going to stay loyal to him to help him break his own records. So he poisoned his mindset with this, don't worry, you're getting the money shit. Just don't beat my accolades. Don't take my name out of the record books, Tank. And Tank is now going, 30 years old? He needs 5 weight divisions to catch Floyd and a whole lot of belts. 23 world champions Floyd fought. Yo, Floyd, it's a dirty business, but I really think that these legends love the fact that when they walk into the room, they're still honored and their name is still at the top. Do you really believe Joe Montana wanted Tom Brady to take his name out of all the history books and that he was just cool with that? You think any legend is cheering another legend on? Yeah, break my records. Fuck out of here. The minute that guy takes you out of you're not the man no more. He is. You're just a has-been. You're yesterday's news. This is the new guy. He did it better than you. You think Floyd was going to help Tank Davis take his name out of the record books? You better think about that situation again and about the poison that he put into Tank's head to give you guys the sense, get the bag. The only reason why Tank was getting the bag, he had a lot of help. Notice that these guys are not getting the bag by themselves. Jerron Boots Ennis, he's worthy. He's good. Why does Terrence Crawford have so much trouble getting the bag? Why? Why doesn't he make anywhere near Tank Davis money? Why? Why does Ryan Garcia get paid? Why? He's got Oscar De La Hoya, a gold medalist, a Mexican that brings the other Mexican, and they trying to put it together. But he's got a good stamp, and then that victory. So now he's like, but you got to do some shit. That's part of their success. I don't think Ryan Garcia is as successful on his own. He tried it. His tickets were selling for $25. Yeah. So look, guys, I believe in every sport, the highest award is what you want to achieve. I believe that when you enter whatever sport it is you choose to go into, the goal in mind is to win the championship, either collectively as a team or if it's in an individual sport, win the trophy in golf, in tennis. Those are individual sports. You know, they can be played teams or twos, but in the major tournaments, you're out there by yourself. Boxing, UFC, you're going after that belt, that trophy, that title. And I believe that when you enter whatever sport it is, at the end of the day, that's what you should be fantasizing about. Holding up that trophy, wearing that belt, walking around at the end of the year with that ring. You know? So, yeah, fight fans. So listen, fight fans, you guys are amazing. Oh, like always. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Listen, guys, it helps out the channel if you share the videos and you give the videos a like. It really gets the videos out there for me. More likely 60-40. Floyd got other fighters and what? Let me see. Let's throw this up here for the world to see. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Whoa. Let's back this up. Whoa. Let's back this up because he's got Cormel Moten. That guy, it looks like another Tank Davis. Am I right? Am I lying? He even looks like a better improved version of. He looks like Tank Davis 2.0. He's younger. He's like I think he's about further along than Tank. When I would like to see that because Tank was fairly young. Remember when Tank came in boxing? He had like a heart tattooed on his chest. He got it covered up with like a rose, and then like a gorilla or something. He had it, but he had a little heart here. Tank didn't have no tattoos on his neck. His trunks were 5 times his size. The blue trunks. They were all the way down to his ankle, right? And Tank was young. I mean, there's not like I don't think there's. I haven't seen his first fights on TV. Tank's. I never saw him on his first like 10, 9, 11. Yeah, there's not a lot of video on that. You got to really look for that shit for Tank's career. As soon as he locked in with Floyd, same shit's gonna happen with Camille. But these fighters, once again, they got to do their part. This is not a sport where Floyd can hold your hand. And just because he's Floyd and Floyd tells you to come out to the fights, that you're going to be able to get away with being called that dude. The reason why Tank's called that dude is because he's actually fucking good. So Floyd is not stamping just any fighter. Let's just get that right out of everybody's mind. Just because Floyd did these tactics, managed his career that way, that doesn't take away from Tank Davis's fighting ability. Tank is that dude. He just needs to fight good dancing partners to bring the best out of Tank. That's all I got to see. Once that's done, I swear to goodness, I'm coming on and be like, I told you so. I freaking told you so, bro. Tank is him. But we need to see it. And I'm in agreement where we need to see it first before I give him that credit. In boxing, you got to earn your way. You can't talk your way through. Keep talking your way through and people are going to recognize, hold up, you ain't fought nobody. You fought some pretty decent names that got brought up. You know, Mario Barrio. Know what I'm saying? So that's all. I need Tank to shut people up, bro. And I need him to get in the ring with the top fighters to do it. That's the only way he's going to do it. It's the only way. So, but like I said, yeah, that's marketing. Who has what? Who has he beaten? Tank? Who has he beaten? Well, he beat Leo Santa Cruz. He's a 3-division world champion, a Hall of Famer, Leo Santa Cruz. They say Leo Santa Cruz was moving up, but this is one of those situations that I talk about, that they're saying Leo Santa Cruz was a smaller guy in that ring. I dare you, go turn on the fight. Tell me what you see. Luis Santa Cruz was bigger than Tank Davis. His shoulders were wider. He was taller. So how was he the smaller man? He might have came up from a smaller weight division, but that's one of those cases like Junto Nakatoni. Although he is coming up from a smaller weight division, when he got there, he was bigger than the other guy that was in the bigger weight division. That's one of those scenarios where Leo Santa Cruz was still taller. He had wider shoulders and he held the weight just fine against Tank Davis. Leo Santa Cruz didn't lose any speed. He actually looked like he was hitting harder. He was in there winning rounds against Tank Davis, banging it out. It was a hell of a fight. Tank wore him down and knocked him out with the vicious uppercut heard around the world. That gave him knockout of the year's honor. So, 3-division world champion, he knows how to fight. He ain't never been knocked out like that. Matter of fact, he's never even really been technically knocked out in a fight. And Tank brutalized, knocked him out in a corner. Tank took Gamboza, and that Cuban's a hell of a fighter, a good puncher. Terrence Crawford had to bring him up from a smaller weight division to give him his first loss to Gamboza, right? And Tank Davis went in there and outboxed, outshined him. He's a world champion, right? So and then Frank Martin was undefeated. Frank Martin beat the shit out of Ali Rivera and came in and showed that he's a much better boxer when Ali Rivera is a more technical boxer. And Frank the Ghost Martin showed how he mixed it up with him and outsmarted him and beat him. Tank Davis brutalized him, took away his zero, and knocked him out for the first time in his career. So the things that he's doing, man, these guys might not be so big name. Like you say, who'd he fight? But what he's doing, you know how many undefeated fighters Tank Davis? He took Ryan Garcia's O away from Ryan. And Ryan Garcia beat the brakes no matter what you say. Y'all seen it. So Tank was beat an undefeated fighter, and he did. He didn't beat all these great world champions. And you could see now on full display why Devin Haney never really wanted to fight Tank Davis. I think Devin Haney would have got brutally knocked out by Tank. I think his father knew that, and now I see why. He, I don't think he could take Tank's punch. Not at 140, not at 135. I don't think he could. What about Teofimo Lopez? Why hasn't Teofimo Lopez fought Tank Davis? You know, a lot of these guys say things, and Loma, he wasn't so eager. You say he hasn't fought anybody, but these guys are not lining up to fight him. And then Tank gets pissed and then feels like, because there's a lot of egos clashing in boxing that a lot of people seem not to like acknowledge. Sometimes, like when I offer you a fight and you spit it back in my face, a year goes by. Now the fans want me to fight you, but that boxer's ego is so big. He's like, man, I ain't giving him shit. I ain't fighting him. They say, oh, you ducking him. It's not about ducking. I asked him for an opportunity. He wouldn't fight me back then. He didn't give me an opportunity. He ended up losing his belt. I ended up winning the belt. And now he wants a shot at the belt when he wouldn't give me a shot. I ain't fighting him. Egos clash sometimes in boxing too as well. So, you know. Ah, you guys are ruthless. Yo, guys. Yo, man. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and touch some things in this afternoon. Bam Bam Boogie. Um, you could count on it. We going on at 8:30. We're gonna have to talk about some things up there and shit. I might have a little bit of news to share with the boxing world. I'm currently working on something. So I might have something on. So please, I'm gonna do another live stream today, probably around 8:30. If I don't, I will give you guys the courtesy and I'll shoot you a short to let you know no. But I would like you to join me. I'm working on something to give you guys the best in boxing news. So thank you for tuning in with me. Please don't forget to smash that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Click that bell notification inside of your phone so that you can be notified whenever I go on live. So fight fans, like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been amazing. Thank you.